I'm Jessica Alstrom. This is Transcendence Wellness Center. And we started doing these second Sunday channel transmissions, I don't know, back in end of last year, like November of last year. And they've just kind of been taking off. And it's a way for me to kind of get all of this mass that's in my head out and create a forum for the chaos that is coming through me energetically, as far as how the times are changing and shifting and how we're all changing and shifting. And so it's kind of a blend of channeled higher self, channeled other entities, and astrology, numerology, and it's just like one big old soup where I can just talk for an hour and a half about, pretty much what's going on behind the scenes. We all know what's going on in the scenes, right? We're in a political warfare right now, so this is what I vote for. Love, right? And that's pretty much going to be the mission over the next 2 years. The next 2 years are going to be the most important times of your entire life on this planet. And believe it or not, the last 3 weeks, the beginning of June up until this point, have been the most important time of your entire life. Why? Well, in July, I talk about this every month at Second Sunday, it is actually the Great Shift. We are moving as a collective into who we have always desired and why we're here on the planet. This Second Sunday, it is actually the Great Shift. It's got to be echoing. So the point of this particular Second Sunday is to, first and foremost, confirm a lot of things. That's what I do. I confirm what you already know. And in this confirmation of today, it's really, really important that you begin to look at the life that you have lived as divinely synchronistic. You have actually not made one mistake, ever. Everything you've ever done up until this point needed to happen for you to be who you are in this moment. That means all of your losses and all of your tragedies and all your so-called mistakes and failures, all your unrequited loves, all of your missed opportunities, all of your challenges, and all of your successes, all the ones that you did find love in, all of your hopes and dreams that are still burning within you. That's all synchronistic for why you are here. And you are here for a very specific reason, even if you are in a co-creative relationship. You and your co-creative partner do not share the same universe. You share space. You share ideas. You share experiences and possibly memories. But you don't share the same universe. You are here for a very, very unique purpose, and that person that is in your life is there to complement the idea of your universe and vice versa. So what I want to share with you guys today is that June, energetically in history, is karmic closure. We are in the process of closing lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of old karmic relationships and patterns. So anything that has come up in the last 4 years of your life is all based in residual timeline residue, which means every single person in your life is karmic. Which means that you have had a relationship with, spent time with, or some sort of experience with in the past that you are now coming full circle to clean up, repair, maybe finally fall in love, maybe finally speak your truth. So this is about patterns, relationships, and projects. Karmic release. That is what we are releasing this month. And because July signifies the great fork in the road, where we are going to be moving into divine purpose, we're not going to be moving into divine purpose from the perspective of, should I? It will be a knowing that's right here, that is so strong, you won't judge it, you won't logic it, and you will not question it. You will just know who you are and why you've come. But the last 3 weeks have been this entire collective of the past, all swished into tiny experiences. So think back over the last 3 weeks of your life. What choices are you being asked to make? What are you closing out in your life? What stories are you ready to say goodbye to? How are you seeing your body? How are you seeing your neighbor? How are you seeing your partners? How are you taking responsibility for that fork in the road that's been there every single moment of your life? And which direction have you been choosing? Because in June, it is all about the release. It's about letting go. It's about saying goodbye. It's about old patterns coming back up, but this time you're a different person in those patterns, aren't you? When those old relationship issues come back, you are a different person now, aren't you? You're more like, oh, this again? Okay. But it's not like fall to the knees, agony, stress, pain from the past where we would repeat a cycle. You're kind of getting easier with yourself. You're letting things go. You're logicking less. You're loving more. Everyone is waking up, and we're waking up to the fact that all there ever was love. There was never anything else. But the choices that you've made up until this point have dictated where and how you have seen the world and where you've gone. Because at the fork in your road that you've had many times in this life, your choices weren't always in the direction of joy, were they? They weren't always in the direction of bliss. They weren't always in the direction of expansion. And when you've chosen that fork in the road that went towards logic, responsibility, or what someone else needed or wanted from you, you paid for that in a lesson, didn't you? How many lessons have you been learning over this lifetime? Some people call it suffering. I call it lessons. Because at the end of the day, if you would have, in that moment where that fork was, where your gut, where your intuition, where your very soul was saying go left, but you knew logically you needed to go right, and you chose right, you're probably still, right now, in a karmic release of that choice. Because right now, you have choice greater than you have ever had in your entire life. Because you aren't having to just get rid of all of this karma on your own. You're being divinely supported by the universe. As you sleep, old patterns are being removed from your body. Your DNA is being upgraded to only see love in others. Your DNA is being upgraded for you to have access to those superhuman powers that you've wanted since you were a little kid. As you rest and let go and help a friend and take care of yourself, you're upgrading. And you're upgrading so quickly that your brain can't even process the shift. And all you know is you can look back over your life. Just think back. 3 weeks ago, you were a different person than you're sitting right here, aren't you? 3 weeks ago, you were a different person than you are now. And the truth of it is, in the next 3 weeks, who are you going to be? You're going to be who you choose to be. You're going to choose the direction of love. You see how I'm bypassing joy now? And I'm saying you're going to choose love. Because that's all you ever were. There isn't anything other than that. And everything else has been filler for you to have this experience on the planet and think that you have had any other ability to feel any other way. And that's why you felt so much stress and resistance in your life, is because you had a choice and you chose the opposite of who you were. And when you choose the opposite of who you are by nature, you suffer. When you resist source energy flow from your body, you have pain in your body. When you let source energy and the universe move through you, you don't have pain in your body. You sleep well. You know just what to say when you need to say it. Things just come in with ease. Life doesn't feel stressful. Life doesn't feel like a struggle. It's only when we are resisting our own truth and disallowing the greater part of who we have been to move through us that we get sick. So if we're shifting into love, do you think that there will be illness on this planet? Do you think that there will be suffering? A lot of people ask me, oh, if I do all this child work and I do all of this healing work, I'm still left with this horrible planet. Do you not think the universe is more intelligent than that? Do you not think that the planet is waiting on you as its mother? The planet is waiting for you to be able to handle what she's going to give you next. what she's going to give you next, I wish you could see. Because you will get to create from the depths of who you are instead of trying to survive by being who you are. You aren't going to have to be lost and have to conform and be the weirdo anymore. You are the rock stars. Before we came, you know who was here? Artists and musicians. Because they were telling our story before we came to actually tell our story. And now we're actually able to speak our truth and tell the stories of what the music has had in it since the beginning of time. Hope, grace, and love. Every time you look at color, that's what it's telling you. Every time you look at a child or an animal, that's what it's telling you. That's what nature has been telling you since the beginning of time. The messages have always been here, but we are now waking up to the point of we're actually going to be able to handle this kind of power. You no longer have to feel guilty for wanting love, because all you ever wanted was what you were. And as we move into this fork, you're going to have to make the big choices. And so, technically, that little broken child within you, it's time to grow up. It's time for that child to heal and move into an adult perspective where he or she can handle the grace that's coming. Because only an adult would be able to handle what is coming with a childlike nature. If you've forgotten to play, then you've forgotten who you are. Because children know how to do certain things intuitively when they're born, and pretending and imagination is as intuitive to them as eating. They know how to do that better than they know how to do anything else. Do you not think that's deliberate? Do you not think that that was intentional because that's how you were going to create your reality? That you were always supposed to look at third dimension or life as neutral props of the play that you are creating within your own heart? Because that's the truth. You are designing all of it. And when you get lost in the stories of the past, you forget that you had control this whole time. You forget that this is your playground and that the universe bows down to you when you are right here. But when you are in your head and you're deciding what is wrong or right or black or white or what's responsible, then what happens is you go off your natural course and you do what's right? And you get lost. So fortunately, in this next month, you're letting yourself off the hook with all of this old karmic BS. Okay? You're clearing. You're doing intense clearing. Who here is exhausted? Okay? The reason why is because the universe is at work on you and through you and with you. You get mad lately, frustrated, done with things, ready for things to just be over with. That is your conclusion of energetically what is happening behind the veil. Because technically third dimensional reality doesn't exist anymore except in your poor, pathetic, logical brain. And I say pathetic because it is this tiny thing that is in our head that holds on to memories of the past. And we believe that's real. We believe that the past is real, and the only thing that time actually exists is with memory. So if you have no memory, then you have no time. And all there is this present moment and this new fork in the road for you to decide, am I going to be me, or am I going to be what everybody expects me to be? And I talk about this in my life coaching certification because in July there is going to be basically 2 train tracks. And these train tracks have been really close together for a really long time. 3rd dimensional and 5th dimensional train tracks. 3D is basically logic. It is accountability. It is reality. It is do the right thing in 3 dimension. And 5 dimension is unconditional love for all things. So basically you have separation and you have love. You have judgment and you have love. And these 2 tracks you have been jumping your entire life as an indigo. You have literally spent time on both sides. You have spent heavy amounts of judgment time. And then you'll go over when you read a great book or meditate, and you'll be with your true self. And you have been jumping these tracks your entire life, but what's happening is they're getting farther apart. That's what you're actually exhausted from. Did you know that? Because energetically, you're going back and forth, and you don't know you're going back and forth, and you're literally energetically have to jump tracks that are probably, I don't know, a yard to 10 yards apart now. And that feels like more stress in the body. It feels heavier to do. Yet there's a part of you that feels like you want to hang on, and you know why you want to hang on? Because you want to be loved. The only reason you're doing anything right now from a third dimensional perspective is you're still desiring love. You're still desiring to be seen and heard and nurtured from those people, places, and things that will never see you. It's trying to reconnect. Okay. So, because of who you are and why you came, you were never designed to fit in. You were never designed to be seen for who you are. Only those who live in judgment see who they are. And they think that's the right way to be because there's safety in judgment. Someone walks by with a different color skin, I can move into judgment and justify that because it makes me feel safe. If I turned on the lights, we'd all be off the lights, we'd all be the same color. Where's your safety then? So the point is your judgment, you've needed it in the past. We've needed judgment in the past to keep us safe. That's the whole point of judgment, is to keep our egos safe, to keep our hearts safe, to keep our world safe. But what are we keeping it safe from? Not letting love in. So as we jump these tracks and we move into unconditional love in all ways, we're going to be saying goodbye to many, 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 many things. And your brain and your body will go easy on you. It's not like tomorrow you're going to wake up and you'll have a brand new reality with all new people that you don't know. It will be subtle. It will feel organic. But as you look back, you will notice that everything has changed, that nothing is the same. Think back 1 year ago today. Where were you? Who were you with? What were you doing? Who are you today? It's different, isn't it? Your mindset, your belief systems, your desires, your choices, where you spend your time and money has changed. Where you give your focus has changed. Are you not a completely different person? But the way that reality works in 3D is that it appears very slow, yet everything is moving so fast. And that's part of your exhaustion, is you are letting go. And some of it you're letting go willingly, and some of it you're not. What areas of your life right now are you resisting change? Where are you resisting growth right now? Where are you resisting expansion because you're afraid to fail or leave someone behind? Or maybe lose yourself? Believe it or not, that is a common fear of growing up. But to me, being a grown-up is pretty cool because you have all of those childlike qualities about yourself. But you have power as an adult. Did you really have power as a child? Could you say yes or no? You had an amazing imagination, but you couldn't choose your life for yourself, could you? That's what July is. All of the power of childhood, all of the power of the universe, with actually the ability to say yes or no for yourself for once. And that's why some of you are leaving relationships, and some of you are leaving projects and businesses and companies and things that you never thought you would give up. Because what you want more than anything is to be able to say yes or no for yourselves. And not have to give an explanation. You know, saying yes when you mean no is a form of self-abuse. When you constantly say yes to things that don't feed you or grow you or expand you, you are literally self-abusing yourself, and you're choosing logic, responsibility, what's right for someone else's journey. And as empaths, we've gotten really lost in other people's journeys, haven't we? We can spend our whole life in someone else's journey. You know why? Because we have the ability to feel what you're feeling. So instead of looking in the mirror, I've been able to feel what you're feeling and spend my entire life focusing on what you need and want. Did you know that's also self-abuse? Because the power is about you choosing what it is that you want and you need for you. And that may look crazy to the person sitting next to you, but you're here for your own universe. And what the crazy things that bring you joy and passion and all the strange desires that you have that don't make sense to the person sitting next to you make perfect sense for why you're on this planet. You may not even know why. You may not know that you having intense desire for solitude was very important for your process. Maybe all of these failed relationships and jobs and opportunities, the things that are just not working out right now, maybe there's a greater reason why. And if you were in your heart center right now, you would know that it is a karmic release of the past. We get to say goodbye to the past. We get to say goodbye to the stories that run us up in the middle of the night and keep us thinking, woulda, shoulda, coulda. Because if you ever have had your charts done, you will know that even that broken leg at age 5 was in your charts. So how could you actually want to hold on to the past if it was all for a reason? Childbirth is one of the most painful experiences that anybody can go through on the planet, and it is the greatest reward right after. And I promise you, 10 seconds later after that baby is born, you don't remember that pain. You don't sit and go, gosh, remember that day I was in labor for 100 years? It was the most horrible day of my life. Say, you know when I lost my job in 1983? It was the best thing that ever happened to me. Because it taught me that I didn't want to work for someone else. It taught me that I deserved better and that I was being underpaid and undervalued. And so I took it upon myself to open up my own company, and look at me today. So you have to start looking at all of these things in the past that you're holding on to and say, thank you. Thank you for being my teacher. Thank you for showing me this whole entire time who I was. Because you won't be able to deny yourselves for much longer. Very soon, you're going to be walking around and everything is going to literally feel like a mirror. It always has been, but it will really start to do that. One of the things that I do every single day when I interact with anyone is I say, what message did they have for me? That sounds selfish, doesn't it? No. Because the thing is I would not interact, say hello, bump into, exchange paths with anyone on the planet that didn't have a message for me, because it is my universe. And I have a message for them. So if we looked at every encounter as a messenger, whether that be a stomach ache, whether that be a failed relationship, whether that be someone cutting you off on the highway, and you sit, instead of saying, what a jerk, or how could this happen to me, or why does this keep happening to me, say, what are you showing me? What are you telling me? And thank you. Because it will come like that. The one mistake that we have made as a collective is that we have given up our intuition over the years. So many people hire me to say, help me open my intuition. I said, well, why'd you give it up? Because you willingly did. At some point in your life, you recognized that it wasn't safe for you to be so damn smart. Because it didn't serve you to be more intelligent than your parents, did it? In order to be fitting in and have love and the dynamic of all the things, you needed to give up part of yourself in order to fit into the collective of the times. And the collective of the times is, don't trust your heart, trust your head. Logic, get your head out of the clouds. No, there's nothing in that corner over there. Put your head into the books. Just do it. Do what you're told. Don't feel that, don't say that, don't be that, don't think that. And then you hire me and say, help me open my intuition. And I say, okay, so all we have to do is get rid of all of those stories from the past and the day that you lost you. Do you remember that day? Can you find that day in your timeline? The day that you said, I give up. I will be what the world needs me to be. Even though you might have been still kicking and screaming like I did, at some point in your life, you gave up your own superpower. You were born with all of the same gifts of everyone else. No one is special, yet we are all unique. Because we're all having our very, very, very perfect universe for our story on the planet, our abilities will filter through that purpose. So not everybody needs to be clairvoyant. Not everybody needs to be clairsentient. But the thing that you have intuitively is for you, the gift you gave yourself before you came here. Because this was all set in the stars. Your awakening, right? Everything has come at the perfect moment for this time in history. I can't tell you the goosebumps I've had over the last week about this time and space. This moon, this new moon that we've had, it represents the new you. The combination of all of your survival and your hustle and your strength. All your compassion that's been learned from all of your loss and your pain. You needed all of those things because the thing is you don't have a personality without a body. So you needed to have all of these experiences to create this unique ball of you. And without all your experiences and your desires and your memories, then you wouldn't be you. I know I spent my life, the early years, begging to be someone else. I mean, I would literally pray to God, just make me someone else. Because I felt like I came in broken. My thoughts didn't match up with other people's thoughts. I could never do the right thing. I was that problem child. Because I always saw the world through my imagination of what could be. Well, what if this could be? Well, that's not how it is. And when we give that up, we fall deep into the darkness for maybe years. And it beats us up like being a tennis shoe in the dryer, and we hit our head, and we hit our head, and then the energy on the planet says, enough. Enough, my children. It's time to come home. We're done playing in the darkness. You needed to play there so that you could learn your compassion. You could learn what the heck was going on in the planet so you knew what you were here to fix. And it's time to wake up and be that childlike, adult god or goddess that you have come to be. And so as you look back over your life, it's really important that you understand July signifies your independence. Your independence from this environment, from this collective consciousness. You are breaking away from collective consciousness. You are learning to think and feel for yourselves again. You are saying, that doesn't feel right. That's not good. And if you noticed how divine everything is going on the planet to show us how silly it all is? Because even down to this particular election is the biggest joke in history. Because basically, don't take things so seriously. Everything that needs to destroy itself will. And they're setting themselves up perfectly for that. Your only vote is you. Your only vote is love. Your only vote is taking your power back. And how many times in the last 3 weeks have you had the opportunity to take your power back? At least 2 or 3, yes? Whether that's just getting someone on the phone, customer service, and having it out, or telling off a family member and not even feeling bad about it, letting go of a job that's just not worthy, or maybe sitting at home and deciding that your job right now is not to go be super responsible, but yet be at home and get to know yourself for a while. That's taking your power back. Taking your power back is choosing what you wished you could have chosen your whole entire life and not feeling judged for it. Because the people who have been judging you will leave your lives. And no, they won't all be killed. It will just be a process of whatever happened to so-and-so. I don't know, I haven't seen them in months. How many people like that do you have right now in your life that have just kind of faded away? So don't force it. I don't care if it's your sister, and go, wow, she really must not love me. She hasn't called me in 2 years. Well, I woke up 2 years ago. You see the frequency there? You're only going to have relationships with people that you are a vibrational match with. And sadly but truly, that's always how it's been. So if you've been in corrupted relationships, you were a match to that somewhere in your timeline. Maybe not in your conscious awareness, but in your unconscious awareness, you have been a match to even the worst players of your life. Somewhere. And what I'm seeing lately is the people that are coming to me mad, they're not mad about the past anymore. They're mad that they're still mad about it. Why am I still mad about the past? I'm mad because I'm mad. Because you're not. You understand as a conscious soul that your past was important. The frustration that you have with yourself right now is you can't let go. And so these months, these weeks, these hours, right here, smack in the middle of this year, is helping you energetically move into the direction of you, which means it doesn't need to make sense to anyone. You know, I woke up about 4 weeks ago and said, it's time for me to let go of wellness centers and create communities. It's time for me to let go of brick and mortar and build something that everyone can use. Housing, food, community. And however long that takes, I don't care. And however that comes to be, not my job. But it was like a bullet just went right through me and opened me up and said, it's time for community. It's time for us to learn how to love each other unconditionally. Because you're probably nicer to a complete stranger than you are to your spouse. Have you noticed that? You know why? Because the shadows, the past, resides in the face that sleeps next to you. And so you're mad at that because it's hard for you to let go of your past because they're there to remind you. So we always bring our best to the strangers, our clients, the people who don't know us without the mask. How about just let go of the mask? And if the person who's sleeping next to you isn't a vibrational match to where you're going, see them with appreciation and grace and love and know that a piece of them will come with you. You will not outgrow your families. Your relationships will just change. You don't have to let go of anyone to go in the direction of what's coming, but you will be getting your coordinates. Your coordinates will come through you like wildfire, and you will know exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it, with whom you need to do it with, and there will be no emotion attached because it will be coming directly from your higher self. See, emotion is just energy in motion attached to a feeling from the past. So if I get a feeling that I'm supposed to do intentional communities, then all of a sudden emotion tells me that's going to be a lot of work, right? That doesn't serve me anymore because I know that I need not do work. I am on the planet to be of service, and however that works out, it will work out. All I know is that it's time for us to give away anything that resembles a third-dimensional collective belief system and move into helping each other again and loving each other again and being there for each other again without conditions. Because the best way to show someone that you love them is to show them the love they have for themselves. The best way you can help someone is show them how magical they are inside and show them how much you need them. Because everyone in this room is a genius in at least 1 to 10 areas. And others of you are ignorant in those areas. So we need each other to come together, to be genius as one. I'm not good with business. Susie's great with it. I have both ignorance and genius. But together, we are a team. And so we need to get away from the I mindset and get back to the we mindset. Because if you can't love your neighbor, it's because you don't love you. If you don't see your neighbor as love, then you don't see yourself as love. Because the mirror is going to start to get really thick. And the words that come out of people's mouths are the words that you can't speak to yourself. Does that make sense? So I want to do a quick question and answer, and then I'm actually going to do a guided healing. And I'm actually going to be doing my time travel process on all of you. And the time travel process is basically because time doesn't exist. We're going to go back on our timelines and we're going to find where we stopped trusting ourselves. We're going to find a key moment. It doesn't have to be the moment, just a key moment where we chose to be part of a collective instead of part of ourselves. Where did we give away our intuition? And we're going to find that fork in the road, and we're going to go back to that moment, and we're going to feel that pain. We're going to feel that stripping of self for just a minute. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change that story energetically and physically. Because see, the thing is your brain-body connection only believes where your behavior is. So your behavior dictates your belief system. So it's wonderful for you to be a metaphysical student. It's wonderful for you to be a pioneer of reading the next book out and listening to the next, great documentary on consciousness. But it is the exact opposite of actually living and vibrating and being that idea. Are you living your consciousness journey, or are you reading about it? Do you spend your hours studying or living? Because I think everyone in this room probably has a PhD in metaphysics by now. So therefore, you should be a walking, living example of consciousness in action. Are you? Or are you half and half? Are you still jumping tracks? Right? Do you get home from work and dive into your books and meditate and feel blissed out all alone, but 8 hours a day you give your heart and soul to a corporation that doesn't even see you or value you? You're jumping tracks. Okay? Or are you in a relationship right now that doesn't see you and hear you for who you are? You're jumping tracks. So what I want to do is I want to go back to that moment where you actually bought into that you had to jump tracks and shift the energy so that we can go back in time to change the future. Because that's how timelines work. If I take you back and we change something and the body believes that it has changed, then the future has to be different because the projector of your reality is all right here in this brain of yours. So if I can get my brain to believe that I never gave up choice and I never gave up my intuition, then who will I be tomorrow? This is how I healed about 30 years of intense abuse of my life, is this timeline work. Because I could not stop thinking about who I have been. I knew what I knew. I knew the secrets of the universe. I knew how to manifest. But you know where my mind went? Back to the past. That overthinking monkey mind of woulda, shoulda, coulda, that has never let any of us move out of its jail cell. So if we go back and we change the story energetically in the body, the brain gets the message. The brain does not know the difference between real and imagination. It doesn't. That's how I could ask you to envision something that totally creeps you out and your skin would start itching, because your brain-body chemistry is going to give you a chemical reaction based on what you're thinking about. You can watch a movie sad and you will cry. It's not happening to you. You're thinking about it. So So the brain body only knows what information is given that you believe through observation, practice, and awareness. So if we start becoming more deliberate in what we're doing, moment by moment by moment, get hyper-focused on where we're going, let go of the past, really, energetically, with intention, then you will propel forward with no bumps in your road. It should be, just saying, clinically, at this point of our journey in history, it should be smooth sailing. Soon as July hits, if your river doesn't start flowing super fast and abundance stuff doesn't start hitting you over the head, then you got some timeline work to do. That's all. You're not going. It's not like someone's keeping you from going. It's you. You're resisting it. You're believing something about yourself that's not true. And that's only coming from a memory, because once you actually leave this physical body and this brain behind, you will move back into the wholeness of you, and you will have no woulda, coulda, shouldas. You'll be like, damn, that was cool. I wish I would have done that, but not really. I'm glad I did that. Because the truth of it is that your choice is going to be hard to make if you can't let go parts of your old self. So if you're separating from a job right now, relationship, an idea, an old desire that you've been holding a long time, shift of diet, shift of neighborhoods, it's a symbolic version of the split of you. The old you, the small you, the traumatized and abused you, and the you that is that superhero within. The one that has gotten all of its strength from learning about compassion and life and what the hell we're doing here. Because it should be making sense by now why you're here. You might just be sitting here going, yeah, I know I'm here, but how do I do that? The answers will come as soon as you move into alignment of even the desire is, I freely let go anything that does not serve me. Ask yourself, the food you're putting in your mouth, does this serve me? The person you're sitting next to that you give all of your time, does that serve me? And if the answer is yes, keep doing what you're doing. But if it's no, then what's going to happen is you're going to start jumping tracks and you're going to start getting really, really tired. And where 2016 will be the most abundant year for some people, it will be your most exhausting year. So all you have to do is say, wow, I'm feeling really exhausted. What am I resisting right now? What am I not letting go of? What old stories do I keep allowing to play out? So let's jump into a question and answer, and then we'll end with the guided timeline work. Questions?
So I think you touched on it, you talked about a shift, and there's something called the Mandela effect, where my childhood memories of programming and cultivated vision that I thought they said a certain thing or a song has changed.
Okay.
Maybe you could touch on that.
Explain that a little bit differently.
So it's like Snow White,
Yeah?
mirror, mirror on the wall.
Right.
It's changed now. It's not mirror, mirror, it's magic mirror.
Magic.
So am I tripping, or?
Yes, in a good way.
You know.
Yeah. Wait,
So a
you're
lot of
just...
things have changed that I've noticed.
The thing that I see energetically with you is that you are you 100%. And when you look back on those old stories, they feel differently now. Because you are different. You know, it's like when you and another person go on vacation and then you come back and you tell someone about that vacation, you both have two different stories. So basically what you're having now is two different memories. You're having a memory of your childhood based on who you are now, and you're having a memory based on who you were. So you're just able to choose what memory feeds your soul more at this point. Does that make sense? So you're just doing such great work with yourself that you're able to see even your childhood differently from this new awareness, yet the old one is still there, but it's more neutral. Because that's what timeline work does, or deep meditation or trance or brain retrainment does, is it doesn't take you away from your memories, it just creates neutrality. It creates that there's no longer negative emotion attached to something that law of attraction is going to keep answering, because law of attraction is going to answer all of that emotion that's built up in your body. So if I have a ton of negative emotion and I'm thinking positively, the universe is going to give me a mixed bag of manifestation. It's going to give me positive and negatives. So I need to clean out all of my timeline to get rid of all of that negative energy that's still vibrating at a cellular level, release it with a positive story which creates neutrality. And neutrality, it just is. Therefore, law of attraction doesn't respond to neutrality because it's new to your reality, neutrality. So these next few weeks moving into July are going to actually be about intimacy. And I don't mean sexual intimacy. I mean into me, I see. It's all about you right now. It always has been about you. How many layers have you got lost in? It's okay. You're finding yourself. The most important relationship right now is the one that you are with you. You need to be your best friend right now. And a best friend would not judge you on your mistakes, would it? You'd be like, it's okay, I know why you did that. I get it. Love you. So, yes, self-love. Yes, self-trust. But you know what? You can't trust yourself if you don't love yourself. And every New Age speaker on the planet for the last, 35 years has been saying self-love, self-love, self-love. And you're like, how can I love myself when I've done all these horrible things? Or all these things have never come to me. I must not be good enough. The only reason why is you gave up trust. Do you trust your neighbor? If you don't, it's because you don't trust yourself. Yes?
Someone online has a question. What if you know what you're in resistance to, but every time you make an attempt to be in allowance to it, you get the same undesired results as the past? Like your belief systems are keeping your desires at bay. It seems so overwhelming to change the belief systems in a way that your life begins to change.
So what she or he is saying is they are practicing being aware of the resistance that they're feeling, yet they're getting the same result?
Yes.
Okay. Well, how long did it take you to walk? How long did it take you to ride a bike? You know, it will be at some point energetically on the journey where you make a choice like that and you change a belief and you walk right into the direction of your new change. And that is a possibility, but what she or he is doing is they keep looking at circumstances after they've changed the belief. And circumstances take a little bit of time to deactivate. So what you've got to do is you've got to make a change and change the belief system and then walk in the direction of your joy even if hell is breaking down around you. You've got to get so distracted by circumstances that all you see is where you're going. It's called quantum focus. Because if I focus on where I'm going, I have no idea what's going on over here. This is none of my business. That means if I desire that I am not going to be afraid of money anymore, okay? I make that intention. And then tomorrow I get a bill from the IRS. You know what I'm going to say? Oh yeah, I'm not afraid of money anymore. Bring it. But I would have to practice that in my behavior about, 5, 6 times before the universe would go, dang, she's serious. Because if I don't, if I say, I'm not going to be afraid of money anymore, and then tomorrow IRS slaps me with the bill and I go, am I really changing? Did I really change that belief? Because you have to vibrate a new belief into the body. The body only knows who you've been. So if you're going to change who you are, you have to practice and practice and practice and practice not being afraid of money. That means you have to fake it. You say, I'm not afraid. It's all good. Universe, la la la. Like you have to practice that for a few times. And the thing is if you can do it at least 3 times, the universe will say, I believe her. She isn't afraid of money. We've literally thrown a huge challenge at her and she didn't even balk. Does that make sense? Because the thing is once you set the intention, you are faced with your dragon immediately. Because the universe is testing who you choose to be. You can't say I'm one way and then behave another way. You're contradicting your own flow. You are saying one thing and you are being another thing. And the universe listens to state of being, not what you say. The universe watches what you do. Action. Because brain-body connection, action of how you actually carry your body on the planet determines your state of being, which determines how the law of attraction is responding to who you are. Questions? Come on. Bring it. Yeah.
So, as a parent, there are things that do not resonate with me that I feel responsible to do for my kids. How do you reconcile that?
So what you're saying, so give me an example.
So, like taking Abby to that funeral the other day, like, didn't want to go, like, really didn't want to go.
So you didn't trust your gut.
But she needed to go.
Okay.
So, as a parent, I'm not gonna just drop her off the door because I knew what was gonna happen and then it wasn't gonna resonate with me, so I went with her.
So let me ask you
I needed to
this.
be there.
So Abby's an extension of you, so part of you needed to go.
Right. Okay. It's just like,
So,
sometimes it's
but the
not.
thing is let me ask you, because this is the question, is what did I learn? No matter how painful it was, what did you learn about yourself? Did you learn how far you've come in your belief
Oh, yeah.
systems? Did you learn that none of that resonates anymore?
Yeah.
Because the thing is your children are an extension of the parts of you that you can't see. Your children are your teachers. They are your teachers. You are not their teachers ever. So Abby's an extension of you. You didn't want to go. Abby wanted to go. You go. You see all of this greatness about you. You see all the corruption about why you've come to save the planet.
Right.
Make sense?
Do you believe we come into our life with a soul blueprint where we can't change some challenges in our life, where our free will was before birth choosing our life purpose and path?
That is a yes and no. So yes, you come down with a blueprint, which means it's in your chart, it's in your stars, it's in your numerology. There is a path for you. Now you set up lots and lots and lots of soul contracts of people to get you really messed up, really lost, and really loved while you're here to make it fun. The more conscious you are, the less that you have to play out those contracts. The more you trust you, the less you have to trust others, which means you don't need other people to act as your flashlights in the dark. Because sometimes you need someone outside of you to remind you of who you are, and that needs to be necessarily a negative thing so that you can remember who you are, because you're light. So what better way to remind you of who you are than the dark, where you can actually shine? So in that particular situation, we come down here with a foolproof way of waking up. Lots of challenges, lots of limitations, lots of agreements with other souls to get us all lost and found in the same lifetime. Now, if we wake up and take personal responsibilities for ourselves, our timelines, and our thoughts, beliefs, and feelings, then what we do is we bypass that and we create a new blueprint the moment we take responsibility, which is the ability to respond. I am responding to who I am and why I've come, therefore now guess what? I'm rewriting code. I'm throwing that old belief system and that blueprint out and I'm going, I am this person now and I get to write a whole new script. Most of us don't get to that point where we become that deliberate in our ability to create and we just play off the initial blueprint and we hope we wake up towards the end. But this time and space, and I will tell you that July signifies a brand new blueprint. Now if you don't create a new one, you'll just go back to the old one and you'll keep playing off of that, and that's fine. But July is basically, by the time July 4th hits on this planet, you should be taking your independence back and saying, who do I choose to be? Because all of the karma is actually being removed from you, and if you could just get that information to your brain and let your brain know the stories are gone, then you could sit and decide where you go next and how you go next and with whom you want to go next with, and let the universe create the path and the money and the opportunities and the circumstances that you need. That has never been your work. So you create it when you take responsibility. And that's kind of why I was using that horrible word adulting earlier. Because that adulting is about being responsible for who I choose to be in every given moment, even if my kid wants something else. Or even if my boss wants something else. Or even if my business wants something else. Me saying, what is good for me? And maybe I don't want this, but this person I love does want this. So maybe there's something I'm going to learn. And so I'm going to go and support this person And it ended up being the best possible lesson I could have had. Another question? Anybody? Rex?
Well, how do I say this? I'm coming out of my shell, the
Yes, you are.
cocoon, and becoming like a butterfly, kind of, all over here and all over there. But at the same time, then I noticed this morning, you're becoming a social butterfly, which is not a good thing for me right now. How do you? Well, you go over the top and then you forget about yourself.
Is that an old belief or a new belief?
No, it's true.
You really?
It isn't. Anyway, I'm scared.
So what you're afraid of is you're afraid that you are becoming social. But let me ask you, Rex, are you becoming social with asleep people or awake people?
Probably 2/3 and a third.
Good. So does that just mean you're more comfortable with yourself, that you can be around other people now?
Well, definitely.
Okay. Are you coming with me here?
No?
Okay. So last month I talked about June was going to be about, May and June was about community. Is that not what you're doing? Is you're accepting
Now
a
I'm kind of
community?
going overboard.
How can you go overboard? You know what, Rex? I'm going to give you a secret. There's one person in this room right now. There's one consciousness in this room right now that is split all these different ways. So when you spend time with me, you're spending time with you. So all you're doing is you are accepting more pieces of yourself by having more relationships. Because when we don't have relationships, we're saying, I don't like that version of myself. I don't like that version of myself. That version of myself triggers me. This version of myself reminds me that I'm a failure. All you're doing is you're saying, bring it on, I love everyone. Because you know what? You're accepting you. And we are all you. That'll get there.
Still scared.
It'll get there. Well, you know what? A little healthy fear at this point. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the alternative? Think back if you don't jump on the fear train for a few minutes in the next month. What do you have to look back at? Are you really wanting to repeat another 2,000 years of third dimensional reality? Because guess what? Anyone who chooses to not jump tracks gets to go back and do another 2,000 years. And we have the fast track in the next 2 years, 18 months from the 17th of this month will signify the complete butterfly effect. Which means that you will no longer even remember that you were a caterpillar. It'll be such an old lifetime ago that you'll be like, wow, I was like a bottom feeder eating on the ground and I could fly this whole time. 2 years from this month.
Okay, so I gotta make it 2 years.
You're gonna make it fine, Rex. You're right on track.
Okay.
Anybody else? Katie?
I'm having a hard time formulating my question, but it's something to do with differentiating between, okay, so you talked about if you decide to change your belief system about something and you said money.
Yeah.
And then you get hit with something that tests that.
Yep.
Would you call that different than if you feel like you move into a new space and then an old feeling?
Same thing.
So it's the same thing. So when that old feeling hits you and you're struggling with it, like, I'm mad that I'm mad, like what you referenced before. Should we be faking that too? Because my understanding is you want to honor your feelings also. So I'm just trying to find the balance between.
Well, how about saying, wow, the old me would have been really hurt by this. This new me isn't so hurt by this. But I'm going to love and accept that part of myself, and I'm going to heal that part of myself. And of all people, you're actively working on any of those triggers. So the thing is, it's not about not accepting yourself or trying to fake the feeling. The thing is about accepting the feeling of who you used to be and saying, do I choose to let her go? The version of myself that would have been angry about that.
So it's basically saying that's not me now.
Right.
I just got it. Okay.
Yes.
I have 2 questions. How do you get over feeling guilty for being chronically ill when you believe you are awake and have the power to heal but stay sick?
Well, let me ask you this. First and foremost, guilt does not, oh, we just lost connection. Okay, first of all, guilt does not serve you anywhere on your journey. So let's look at it a different way. If you are choosing to stay sick on your journey right now, what if being sick was the journey? What if you came down here to survive? What if that was your theme? What if your theme was to be a very conscious person living in a sick body and it was serving you somehow? And let me ask you this, is all you have to do is sit with yourself in silence and move into that place of just complete unconditional love for yourself and say, what would I have to believe about myself to choose sickness as a state of being? How am I helping the world by being sick? Am I sending out such rockets of desire to collective consciousness so that they find cures for all of these things? And maybe my lifetime spent here was to be sick so that I could teach others how to be well? Maybe I'm here to just wake up inside and know what it feels like to have a body that doesn't work for me so that I can send guidance to others. And the thing is, if you're choosing illness as a resistance, there has to be a belief somewhere in your timeline, maybe past life, where you weren't allowed to be you. And you're in such resistance of you that the pain in your body that flows through you is now your journey. You know, a lot of people come in with disabilities in their body. They come in with blindness. They come in with diseases. They come in with these things. And is that bad? What if we didn't look at it as bad? What if we looked at it as just that is the story of the soul that's playing out to awaken further? Because you can have all this universal knowledge, but I can guarantee you if she's feeling guilty, he needs to do his timeline work and find where the root, where they decided to give up themselves work. Because all they have to do is go seeking. The reason why the body is still sick, it's a message. It's saying, look at me. See me. Down to where the sickness is in the body will be directly connected to the root energy and the chakra energy. And it'll tell you, if you've got stomach disease, it's about you giving your power away somewhere on the timeline. You got throat cancer. You can't speak your truth about who you are. So find first where the body ailments are, ask Spirit what the message is, how is this serving me, and then start doing the timeline without guilt, because it is divine. Just like someone who would go through a bankruptcy right now, that is so divine. It's a message saying, look at me, see me, love me, unconditionally. That means loving yourself with disease, loving yourself with sickness. Because maybe you're here to learn self-love. Most people that I see that has extreme illness in body, no matter when they awaken or not, it's self-love, self-trust. And when you're self-loving, you're a service to others. And most people who are chronically ill, it's always about them. Heal me, I'm sick. How about turning it around and saying, I am so sick today, I'm going to go heal a dog. I'm so sick today that I'm going to go hug my friend and tell them how much I love them or cook a meal. How about turning it around, balancing karma, moving into giving and receiving, and being the sickest you could possibly do, and being kind to someone else. What that will do is it will energetically take you out of your problem and put you back into the frequency of unconditional love. And then you can start receiving healing. Because a lot of times when we're really sick, we spend our life in hospitals and at healers and at naturopaths and at chiropractors. And when did you heal someone? When did you give back? When did you take that deliberate creator of you being the healer? Because you're probably a very gifted healer in that sick body that forgot that you were. And the only thing that you need to do to cure your disease right now is put your hands on someone else. Take care of somebody else. Love somebody else. And then healing. Because I will tell you that's what's going on with that person.
So they're crying out for love, and if they start giving it away, they'll maybe start receiving it.
Exactly. Because usually a lot of us are great givers, but we don't know how to receive. But someone with extreme illness, They are receiving, 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 and their balance of giving is off. So all they have to do is, they don't have to have money. Just go give someone a hug. Say, I'm so sick today, can I hug you? They'll be like, what? You're like, trust me. I know the universe. You know what I mean? It's like all about flipping the switch of, okay, I'm done with this problem about me. Let's make it about we. What have I always wanted to do? Like if tomorrow was your last day on the planet, what would you do today? That's a good way to think through all of June, by the way. All the way through the rest of June, just play with yourself. This is my last day on the planet. Who and what am I going to do? Who am I going to do it with? You will be surprised who you're with and where you're going and what's actually important. Because Spirit doesn't get to taste chocolate. So you will miss these things. So for the rest of June, we just lost something. For the rest of June, pretend it's your last day. Which means you're going to love harder than you ever loved before, aren't you? You're going to tell people, I love and appreciate you. You're going to tell your body, you've been so good to me. I will not miss you when I'm gone. You know what I mean? And that would be a great way for you to get through June. Susie, we just lost.
I see.
Okay. So any last questions before we move into it? I think Susie's going to start again. Al?
I don't know about a question, but I have an uncle who's very sick, he's very old, and he went to the hospital, but the family's there in Kentucky, and they're going up to see him, you know, and as ill as he is, he looks at him and he smiles and he says, I love you, you know. It's like he knows this is his last chance to get this out there, so every opportunity to let people know that he loves them, he takes it, no matter what kind of pain he's in or whatever, you know.
Well, then he probably should start doing that I love you to himself. That would be the missing component. Because it's real easy to love other people, but sometimes it's hard to love ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably be the missing piece for him, is to sit down and go, I love you. That would be it. Because you know, the body is literally like a little child begging for your attention, and if you don't give it to it, it will get loud, and it will throw a tantrum, and it will break down on you. And so a lot of times it's just really requiring your attention, and your love, and your patience, and your trust. Trust what messages your bodies give you. That's what we're going to move into next, is I'm going to take you through a guided time travel. Now, when I do this individually with someone, it's a lot more intimate, you know, and I can guide each person through their energetic journey. But I want you guys to just kind of go with me wherever you are taken and just really just be in the moment. And I'm going to keep it really general so that everybody can kind of fill in the blanks of their stories as needed, because I won't be there to guide your higher selves. But what I'm doing is, as the energy's been building over this last hour, I have been kind of creating a little soup of all of your higher selves to be able to direct me where I'm going to go in this timeline process, so that it will affect everyone uniquely, but before your specific life. And it won't feel like, no, I have an bad experience. You'll all get it. You'll all get it. Now, this is the first time I've done this in a group, so be patient. And just go with the flow here. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be asking you to feel certain things in your body. And I'm going to be asking you to think about certain things. And it's really important that you feel this in your body, or you will not have the grand effect of the release that's coming. Because I want to take you back to the time when you decided to not trust yourself. And I want to put you at that fork of the road. But this time I want to give you the opportunity to choose who you are now with all the wisdom that you have now. Who would you have been back then? With everything you know now, and all this wisdom inside of you, how about we go give that version of you all of your wisdom? And let that version of you just soak it in and become it. Because you know what? If we do this correctly, you won't be pissed at yourself right now for not being pissed at yourself. You won't be angry at yourself for being angry at yourself in the past. Because as we move into these forks in the road, trust, intuition is going to come back to life bigger than any logic has room for. So if I can put you back on your timeline where you lost trust, and you can go back and give yourself that trust and that wisdom and that knowledge, then what you're doing is it's almost like you're going back in time and you're visiting yourself, and you're going to whisper in your ear all the things that you've learned and say, you know what, when you get 18, don't do that. When you get to 25, and give that little version of yourself that's lost on your timeline and sitting there guilty and shameful and feeling not good enough, go give them the secrets of the universe. And you know what? Because it's magic, you can upplay it. You can give that child psychic gifts. You can give that adult version of yourself 4 years ago when hell broke loose. Go give that version of yourself some unconditional love. So wherever you go, it is the right thing for you. There is no right way to do this. You can't get it wrong as long as you don't try to logic. I need you to put your logic away. You can use that at work. Right now, I need you to just be in your imagination and with who you really are and allow yourself to just go with the flow. So I'm going to ask everyone to close their eyes. And the reason why is I'm inviting you into your inner world, and we're going to be leaving the outer world. And as we leave the outer world, the only thing that exists is the inner world within yourselves. I'm going to ask you to ground your bodies, get real comfortable into that chair. I'm sorry it's warm in here. Pretend it's not. And just be with your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. I'm waiting for everyone to get there, and then I will guide you. Breathe in, breathe out. Take me to another time in the past where you didn't trust yourself. First thought that comes to mind. Now I'm going to ask the questions, but I want you to speak them to yourselves. Where are you? How old do you feel? What's happening? Who else is there? And as you go back to this moment, and you feel that feeling, notice in your body where you're feeling this. What part of the body feels tight right now? Contracted. Where do you feel small? Where do you feel scared? Where do you feel alone? As you notice where it is in the body, know that that has been there since that exact moment. The pain that you're feeling right now, or the tightness that you're feeling right now in your body has been there since this moment you made this choice all these years ago. And it has been waiting for you to notice it. It has never gone away. It has always been there. Take a deep breath. You're letting the body know you're there. Now I want you to freeze this scene. Freeze the scene so that the only thing that is conscious in the entire planet right now is you, in your story. And only you are awake. And the choices that you're about to make, or the choices you just made, or the absence of trust you just decided with, is all frozen as well. And all of a sudden, through the distance, I want you to see a vision of someone coming near you. You can't make it out who it is yet, but they're coming closer to you. And as they get closer to you, you recognize them. And who you see before you is you. The wise, the beautiful, the loving, the awake, the talented, the bigger part of you stands before you. And the first thing they do is reach out and hug you as tightly as you can imagine. Because you've needed this your whole life. You've needed to be held from yourself your entire life. Just allow yourself to hold you until you stop shivering. Until you stop feeling scared. Take a deep breath. Be here with your body through breath. Now I want you to look in your own eyes, in your mind. And I want you to put your arms around this person. And I want you to begin telling them what their life is going to look like and who they will be and what they can choose from this moment on, because no matter what happens, they will end up as the person they are supposed to be. They will not leave behind children or wonderful experiences, but in this moment they are given the choice to not experience certain things by having the wisdom of this divine higher self right in front of them that's going to say, you know what? I'm going to share with you who you really are in this moment. And I'm going to love you unconditionally like no one has ever loved you before. And I'm going to hold you until you feel safe. And you know what? I've always been here. You've never been alone. Spend a minute telling yourselves the things you always wished you needed to know when you were a child. Rescue yourself. Take yourself out of that bad situation. Get rid of the people that are in your life. You have the power right now to rewrite the code of the matrix in this moment forever. Just give yourself this for 1 minute. Rewrite it. Jump tracks right in that moment. Let go of all of that because you don't have to experience it anymore. Notice the change in your body. Notice what used to feel tight is lightening up. Notice that you start to feel more light and more loving. Your strength is coming back. Your heart is opening. Your head is quieting way down. Your breath is the only thing right now that you need to worry about. Breathe in this new story to your body. Tell every cell in your body this new story. Tell every cell in your body that you just rescued yourself from pain and suffering. Tell your body who you choose to be. Let your body know that you are never going to abandon it and that you're always going to be here for it. Take a deep breath. Now we're going to leave this version of you right, exactly, perfect on the timeline as a healed, upgraded, unconditionally loving, rescued version of yourself. This version of yourself didn't experience any of those things. Maybe you went all the way back and chose different parents. Maybe you went all the way back and decided not to come. That's a good choice. It doesn't matter what you've chosen. It's been the perfect experience for you today. Take one final breath. Integrate all of those new stories into the body. One final breath. And whenever you're ready, you can come back. So I saw some of you really move into that, and I saw some of you feel a little bit judged, and that's okay. What I want to do is I want to put this on video, and if some of you felt a little bit insecure or couldn't get out of logic or had too much going on in your life to really relax into this, Usually I will guide you, I will time into your timeline, and I will see things, so I will help be able to navigate you to something specific that is for you. I will help you go back to a certain time that will really be pivotal for you, but I wanted to give everybody a general tool that they can use for this next couple of weeks of June, because I'm going to tell you, the game is about to change, and it's going to be so much fun if we can go willingly, if we can let go. And if we can use this tool a few different times a day, or a few different times a week, to go back into key moments that you just can't forgive or let go of, then what you're at least doing is you're letting your body know that you're a deliberate creator of your reality and that you say what goes. And just by changing the story in your body, the body now believes both stories, and it's neutral. The more emotion you can bring into that, and more release, and the more you can feel the lightness of your body that is after the tightness, is a perfect recognition of the body taking the new download. And yes, I've had to do this thousands of times, probably over the course of the last 7 years, to get me into a place where I'm just all the time channeling my higher self. But that's the result. Is that not worth it? How many times have you driven to the grocery store? How many times have you put gas in your car? So if I asked you to do this process twice a week for the rest of your life, that would be awesome. It took us about 3 minutes. This process is about 3 minutes. And what it does is you're going in and you're taking responsibility for all the crappy stories in your body that you will not let go of. And the breath, see, breath means spirit in every other language. And as I asked you to breathe in, what I was doing is I was telling you to download that new story and download those new frequencies and integrate all of those fractal pieces of yourself back into holistic energy. Because as we integrate and move into one, we kind of need our body on board with it. And I'll tell you that the greatest resistance that you have right now in the Great Shift is only your body. Your body is the one that's still mad about the past. Because your consciousness is already 5 years in the future, ready to go. Ready to be a pioneer, ready to be part of the ground crew, ready to heal others. And the body's like, I'm not so sure. We're kind of good at being a victim. The body is the victim of the story now. Because the body is the one that's been traumatized, and the cellular memory of your stories hold at an energetic level, and they vibrate the stories. So you guys noticed that some of you who couldn't time travel today, where did your mind go? Your mind went to the fact that you can't do it, or that you don't deserve it, or whatever the story is. That was actually coming from your body. Because maybe doing healing work or going back into the past hasn't been safe for you. So even going back into the past without someone indirectly holding light for you isn't safe. If you couldn't get through this, come to me and I will do this with you one-on-one, and I will get you there. Okay? So does anybody have any last questions before we end off? Out of the sauna today? Anyone? Anyone want to add anything? Anybody going through anything they want to share? Anybody? Is there any questions online, Susie?
No. What happens if you okay, so you do the time travel process and you just went to where you went, but you're still having those same things come up over again?
So there's different layers like an onion, okay? And you will have the layers of the onion so you will keep attracting it until the layers of the onion are done. But here's the secret weapon, behavior. So if I can do this time travel piece, right? So say I went back to the time I was 6 years old, where I decided that I was going to believe what my mom and dad had to say over what I had to say, even though I felt like I knew more than them. And I gave away my power in that moment. And I just decided to time travel that right now in this now being. Then I would literally have to leave here knowing that I'm a different person, and I would have to start practicing my new state of being. Because here's the thing, the body got the new story. But the body also has neural pathways in the brain that are accustomed to be you. So now you know what I would have to do? Is I would have to go out in my life and I would have to practice trusting myself. I would have to practice all those new feelings until it became autopilot. Because a lot of you guys will time travel and then you go back out in the world and you feel differently, but you keep behaving the same way. Behavior is your belief system. So it's almost like you have to be hyper aware of like, oh, don't say that. Oh, that would what the old version of me would have said. Oh, that's what the old version of me would have thought. I'm going to think differently. So for a while, you've got to kind of vibrationally get your body. So it's almost like learning how to roller skate or learning how to do something where you feel awkward. Your body feels awkward trusting yourself. So you've got to like be that awkward newborn toddler stage of behaving. That means that when the universe now brings you your challenges, you've got to be like, oh, you're going to walk out of here today and get the opportunity to trust yourself. Do you know that? That's how fast Spirit's going to work for you. What are you going to choose? Because you just gave your whole childhood like a really great tool. But who is your behavior right now? Now, you're going to get an opportunity today, I guarantee you, to trust yourself. Trust your gut over logic, which means it might sound totally logical. Like maybe the highest joy you have today is go home and sleep. But you might have a ton of laundry and yard work to do. What are you going to choose? What do you choose? Because the thing is if you go home and you do the laundry and you do all that when your highest joy was asleep and that's what your gut told you you needed, guess what? You didn't learn. You're going to have to go back and keep practicing. And don't get upset with yourself like, oh, darn it, I didn't trust myself today. Just get back on that horse and practice, 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 because it only takes the brain-body connection a really short amount of time, like 3 great trusting opportunities, and the body will be like, we trust ourselves. And it'll move into that frequency where it becomes autopilot, where you will never divine your truth again. Someone will walk up to you and they'll say, hey, do you want to go to the party? And you'll be like, nope. Didn't even have to think. You know what I mean? It will not even be weird. It won't be like, oh, I surely should. It'll be like, nope. Because you'll know. And it'll move into autopilot, and it will be one less thing that you have to worry about. But you've got to practice it into physical reality because matter is what we play here. And so you can think it, but if you don't become it, like I trust myself, robot, then you're going to have to keep doing tons and tons and tons of travel. So that's the missing piece, Susie, is behavior. The missing piece is do the timeline work, go back in, rescue all your fractal pieces of yourself. But here's the thing, is if you don't, you know where all of your shadows are going to appear? Where all of those lost versions of you are going to appear? Right in front of you. The person sitting next to you, the job, the business partner, this house. Okay? It's all going to be right here in front of you, so you don't have to even go searching for it. You could be like, wow, my headlight keeps going out. What is this telling me? You know, I mean, I went through that one all last year. It's like that headlight just kept going out. And instead of going, this car sucks, I was like, what am I not seeing clearly? Right? Everything is a message. Everything is about you, and it's not selfish. It's self-focused so that you can integrate all these lost pieces of yourselves. And indigos, I know we love our solitude, and I know that we love our alone time, because you know what? We're not triggered when we're alone. But if Cindy comes to me for a session and she triggers me, which you never have, I'm going to go, thank you, because you are me, and I am you. And if you show me something about myself that I've been hiding or lying to myself about, then I am so grateful for you. And so as I help you, you help me, because really, we're all one. And we are all playing this role together, and the ones that are picking up the most triggers within us are our greatest teachers right now. Because they're showing us a side of ourselves that we don't want to see. What you judge in someone else lives in you. What really you just do not like about someone, that's part of you. There's a piece of you there that needs to be loved, nurtured, and integrated. So I'm going to leave you with that, because the next couple of weeks I really want you to practice trust. Walking, talking, breathing, choosing, loving your choices. And choosing the things that make you come alive, not the things that drain you. Choose the people that you can just lose hours with, instead of the people that you're counting the minutes that you have to be around. Because time is also perspective. Joy or not joy, right? When you're in joy, you don't know what time it is. When you're not in joy, you're in 3D, and you feel like you want to die. Kill me, it's only been 3 minutes. Hopefully you didn't feel like that today. Okay, yes.
Okay, Spirit is screaming at me that I'm supposed to share this with everybody, but I've been doing a lot of meditation and stuff like that, and my spirit guides are taking me to like the other realm, which is like where all the magical creatures that we all believe in are. And so I was talking to an elf last night, and
I love this group.
I was talking to an elf last night, and she told me that as the shift happens, that realm will integrate with our reality, and I will be able to walk you all into fairy. And so
Oh yeah, we're gonna have so much fun. Because see, the thing is the veil is so thin now, and we really have access to so many other, dimensions and energies and frequencies and these higher places of just pure positive love and energy, that it's really just about, you choosing to spend time in meditation, you choosing to do the things that are inspiring to you. Because the thing is you don't have to learn who you are, you just have to unlearn who you haven't been. You just have to unlearn the programs that everybody slapped on you to make you fit into a world that you never belonged in. You're here to guide the way out of that old world. You are here to show everyone what real love looks like. And you can't do that by hating yourself because you're different. It's time to just start moving really heavily on getting that it's an action time for us. That we are really blending that masculine and feminine, where we actually have that power within us to move forward no matter how feminine we feel. We can still move forward. And that as gender and education, the ideas of those things, and judgment and separation go away, you will be so much more free to just be you. Then I'm going to tell you that's what's coming. So these next 2 weeks are critical for you to literally be a walking, talking version of your own truth, your own intuition. That means that if you get an intuitive thought that contradicts your plans that you had that afternoon, I would advise you that you break those plans. For the first time in your life, stop doing the right thing and do the right thing for yourself. Don't be what everyone needs you to be. Be what you need you to be. Because you know what? Why you're angry is because these pieces of you lost on your timeline, they need you. They want you. They've always wanted you. And that's why, who I had rescue you on that, wherever you were on your timeline, was you. Because no one can love you the way you need to be loved. No one can see you for who you are inside. No one can nurture you the way that you need to be nurtured. Because only you have those coordinates. So when we nurture someone else because they're hurting, we're nurturing them based on what we would want. Did you know that? We're not actually nurturing them how they want to be nurtured. We're nurturing them how we would want to be nurtured. Because they are our mirror. So that's all I have today. Until next month, I hope that when next month comes, you walk in here all as trusting beings of light. We probably won't even have to have second Sundays anymore. We'll probably just have a big celebration party. Wouldn't that be cool? Because from July all the way for the next 18 months, it should be playtime. But adult playtime with beverages.